After the four-day Austrian Civil War in February of 1934, the Social Democratic Party of Austria was dissolved and the Federal State of Austria was born. The state was ran by the Fatherland Front, which was an authoritarian, corporatist, Austro-fascist and Catholic movement headed by Engelbert Dollfuss. Despite being fascist, it was fiercely anti-Nazi and wanted to preserve local Austrian identity and rejected any ideas of Anschluss. In the July of the same year, Austrian Nazis and German SS with the backing of Nazi Germany next door attempted a coup and assassinated Chancellor Dollfuss. But the coup failed as the police and army stayed loyal. And most crucially, Italy threatened military action against Germany if Anschluss had commenced. Hitler knew he could not take on the Italian army as Germany had only recently begun its remilitarization. So Germany was coerced into relinquishing its claim onto Austria. After the failed July push, Kurt von Schuschnigg took over as the Chancellor of Austria. The putsch had made it overtly clear that Hitler was eyeing up Austria, so immediately afterwards, Schuschnigg attempted to centralize the Fatherland Front's grip over Austria by cracking down on Austrian Nazis and reorganizing the radical Heimwehr into the state-sanctioned paramilitary called Frontmiliz. But as Italy invaded Ethiopia and cozied up to Hitler, Austria became internationally isolated, having lost the only country willing to guarantee Austrian independence. Schuschnigg decided to negotiate with Hitler directly to find an alternative solution. As a result of the July Agreement of 1936, in return for guaranteeing Austrian independence and lifting the 1,000-mark ban, which had been severely damaging to the Austrian economy, Schuschnigg would release imprisoned Austrian Nazis and place Nazis into top government positions. However, this agreement was a complete blunder and allowed Hitler to infiltrate Austria's government while legalizing the Nazi movement within Austria in return for vague promises. On February 12, 1938, Hitler issued an ultimatum to Schuschnigg, threatening immediate military actions if his demands for concessions were not met. Under extreme duress, Schuschnigg conceded at the Berchtesgaden summit and yielded the position of the Minister of Interior and Security to Austrian Nazi Arthur Sayes in court, giving Nazis control of the police and gave a general amnesty for imprisoned Nazis. With all odds against Schuschnigg, he decided to hold a plebiscite to legitimize his regime, which was about whether or not Austrians wanted to be annexed into the Third Reich. The plebiscite was to be held on March 13, 1938. This absolutely infuriated Hitler, who believed that the plebiscite was going to be rigged, and thus issued a final ultimatum: resign and hand power over to Arthur Sayes in court, or be invaded. With the impending threat from Nazi Germany and his own military, which had been thoroughly stacked with pro-Nazi senior officers, proving unwilling to resist, Schuschnigg ordered the military to lay down arms so as to avoid any unnecessary casualties and gave a tearful and sorrowful speech on the radio to the whole nation before stepping down. Following his resignation, Nazi troops immediately marched into Austria unopposed, and Hitler declared Austria to have been united with the Reich. Meanwhile, Schuschnigg would spend the next 7 years in a Nazi concentration camp until Germany surrendered at the end of World War II.